All right, so Actual River Guide reacts to River Wild 2023, now streaming on Netflix, starring Leighton Meester. I'm gonna do some fact versus fiction, some inaccuracies, talk about some of the good though too. I am a Grand Canyon River Guide. I've been guiding since 2017. Spent almost 200 days on the river, guiding, doing this kind of thing. So I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that's real guide stuff, some of the stuff that maybe they omitted to help the narrative, and some of the stuff that maybe they just missed, made a mistake. I will say it does seem like they had some people who know about river stuff consulting. It definitely feels that way, because I'll start with the good. One of the good things is the lingo. The lingo seems pretty on point for the most part. They use terms like takeout to refer to the spot where you would take out the boats at the end of the trip. You know, that might seem pretty commonsensical, but that is what it's called. That's universally where we end our trip is our takeout. Whenever Leighton Meester's character falls in the water after the first rapid, and Gray, Taran Killam's character, yells "swimmer," or when he says "first swimmer," like, that's what you would say when somebody falls out of the boat. You would shout "swimmer." He's doing it kind of jokingly because she falls out in like a nothing little rapid and it's not a big deal, but that would be a swimmer. I know you're like, oh, a person in the water is a swimmer. That's what it's called. You're a swimmer. And then there's another one that I'll touch on in a second. Another thing that was really accurate was the whitewater safety talk that Gray gives in the very beginning. You only hear like 20 seconds of it, but what he says is totally on the money and a part of the classic spiel. The real spiel though would go quite a bit longer, like 10, 15 minutes longer at least. But the little part that we get to hear is true, where he's talking about feet downstream, try to keep your chin up, be ready to like keep your feet downstream and push off of obstacles, push off of obstructions that get in your way. That's good stuff. Other correct river stuff. I thought the look of the guides was super accurate, or like, I'll say like 80% accurate. Kind of like t-shirts, funny t-shirts. Like I see, Trevor's wearing one. I forget what it says, but like, Rosa Caliente Margarita Festival 98, or like Rocco Colombo School of Typewriters or something. Like just kind of like cozy graphic tees that you probably got from like a Goodwill. Like that's pretty classic. The sunglasses on the croakies or on the chums, the visors, good stuff. Sunglasses, love to see those, although a lot of guides wear sunglasses until like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. Like you get so used to wearing them that it just is like, it doesn't even occur to you to take them off. But obviously they had to not wear sunglasses the whole time so that we could see the characters and see their reactions and they could act. Like that's fine. So yeah, the looks of them, the haircuts, Adam Brody having a river mullet, that's totally a thing. Like some people grow out their hair and then when they get on the river, they'll actually cut it into a mullet on the river. But yeah, so river mullets are definitely a thing. Taran Killam's character being like the big bearded burly man, like, that's pretty classic trope of the river. And then like the hippie chick, Leighton Meester's character, definitely, a lot of the guides. The only thing she was missing was like a little guitar to like play some Bonnie Raitt on or something. The names, Joey for the girl, Trevor and Gray are like, I definitely know some guides named Trevor. I don't know, it just felt believable. It felt like they put some care into that. Hyping the guests up on the cliff jumping, you see that happen. Like it's pretty classic. Like one of the guides will be like, let me show you all this awesome spot, let's go cliff jumping. And then the other guides will just like take a snack or nap break or something, just take like a few seconds to be away from guests. Like that's totally cool. That's all on the up and up. The correct thing is like the drinking. At the end of the day, crack a drink, share a drink with the guest, do some chit chatting around the fire, which we don't really do in the Grand Canyon, but around like the chair circle. And then whenever the guest has that bottle of liquor, and Adam Brody's character's like, nope, you're in big trouble. Come here, we got to have a team meeting about this. Bring that bottle. Like, that's one, the attitude, the demeanor is pretty accurate. And then two, just the expression of like, let's have a team meeting about this, whether it's like, most of the time it's tongue in cheek, like, oh, guys, we got to have a team meeting. Everybody team meeting on my boat in 5 minutes. And you just want to like have a drink with your pards. Like, that's totally a thing. So they got that pretty good. Anything else on the correct river stuff? All right, we'll go to the inaccuracies. Here we go. Starting with like some forgivable ones that are sacrificed for the narrative. The unusable sat phone, not gonna be a thing. Like, if a sat phone went out completely on a trip and just unusable, they wouldn't put that off. Like, they would address it immediately, any river company, because then you would just be discredited if you didn't. You would become such an illegitimate river company, and nobody would trust you, and it just wouldn't happen like that. Also, a lot of guides have their own personal inReaches and sat phones, so the fact that none of the 3 guides had one personally, even like next to the company phone, next to the company sat phone, it's like kind of unlikely. Gray's a trip leader. A lot of trip leaders I work with have their own personal inReaches. In fact, every single one of them. And on every river trip I go on, there's at least, I would say, 2 to 3 people that have their own inReaches of the guides. So, and then they run into a solo hiker who also doesn't have his own personal inReach, which, like, if he's just hiking for the day and he's going A to B, and I guess like that's totally fine. If he's even going overnight, maybe, and it's like a well-known path. But if you're doing a multi-day backpack trip, which it looks like he is, you are gonna have an inReach. You're gonna want one, or like a GPS thing. So yeah, that was also like compiling coincidences that didn't seem quite right. The river company would know to look for them if they weren't at the takeout on the day they were supposed to be there. So they would have already been looking for them. Although it's a little unclear what day their takeout day is or when it is. So again, a couple things you can sacrifice the accuracy for the narrative. They didn't wear the PFDs like enough. Like, whenever they're trying to look inconspicuous, they don't have their PFDs on, which, like, that looks pretty conspicuous. If I saw people floating in whitewater areas and like they weren't wearing life jackets, I would be like, what's going on, guys? You should have those on. So, another thing you can kind of sacrifice for the narrative. There's probably a good reason for that in there. A couple of small things, like, a lot of river guides wear flip-flops like 99% of the time, even if it's like 45 degrees, like in the morning or at night or whatever. Like, it's flip-flop city all the time. So not enough guides wearing flip-flops here for me. I would have liked to see that. That would have helped with the accuracy for me. Another little tiny thing, when Adam Brody is reaching to get the girl out of the water, he says, "Here, grab my hand, grab my hand." He says it multiple times, where we're trained to like say, grab my wrist, or that the wrist grip is much stronger than like a flimsy kind of hand grip, especially in like a life-saving thing. If I was helping somebody up, I might just use my hand. But if I'm like actually like rescuing them, I would encourage them to grab my wrist. This is much stronger. And that's like a little thing, and he's out of jail and he hasn't been on the river for that long, so, or like since being out of jail, so it's a little thing. Big things, and there's 2 of them. One, when it comes to the girl getting the head trauma, you would not move her. If she had head trauma in the wild like that, you would keep her completely still and stabilized, and you would keep people with her and then send others ahead. If you didn't have a sat phone or an inReach, you would send others ahead to the ranger station to send a life flight back, send help back, send others ahead. And you would not move the head trauma patient, not unless she was like in immediate danger or something. So that felt pretty inaccurate. Like, you certainly wouldn't take her through class 3, 4, 5 whitewater, whatever they end up going through. That was completely ridiculous. And inaccurate, and it bothered me a little bit. But actually the one that bothered me the most was how there's not a single other trip. Like, this is like kind of portrayed as a common whitewater area. They even have like a whitewater outfitter right at the put-in. Like, there would be multiple trips going in every single day, coming out every single day. You'd be talking on the water about like, hey, we're gonna go have lunch here and then do this cliff jump and then try to camp here, or like, hey, we're gonna try to run this rapid and then camp right there before, you know, dark and that kind of thing. And they don't see a single other trip. Like, you would be running into people all the time. Idaho is like a popular whitewater state, whether it's the salmon or the snake or, you know, whatever, people running up there. So you would just see other trips. You would see other people, and they don't see any other trips. That bothered me so much. They just have the whole river to themselves. All throughout the year, private trips, commercial trips, they run it all year. And it's like, there would be people, there would be way more than just that one hiker that you would see like at campsites or like, you know, weekenders hiking into camp next to the river, that kind of thing. So that felt super inaccurate to me. But I still gave the movie a 3 out of 5 rating on my Letterboxd. That's letterboxd.com/retromotel, or just Retro Motel on Letterboxd. 3 out of 5, because I was still thrilled by it. It's a thriller. I was thrilled. I was entertained. I wanted to see what happened. It's not super original. In fact, it's not original. There's not anything that like, I was like, wow, they went there. They did that. They just told like an entertaining story. And it's just like, you know, kind of pulpy, and there's some suspension of belief. Like, Adam Brody is just like a ruthless killer with unlimited threshold for violence. I guess he just kills and kills and kills, and has no, like, it doesn't faze him in the least, which is like kind of interesting that he, like, kind of a cartoonish villain that don't really exist in real life, with the exception of like the 1 in 100 million serial killers that we have. So anyway, I recommend you watching it if you just want like kind of it's fast paced, it's thrilling, it's dramatic. You know, it's not an awful way to spend like kind of a Saturday at 2 a.m. can't sleep kind of a movie. So I lukewarm recommend it. So anyway, I probably missed some stuff. I definitely missed some stuff. So look forward to reading the comments, seeing what y'all have to say. Thanks for watching the video. See you in the next one.